institution building practices at Baodaji Art Museum and INTACH. And we have with us Tasneem Mehta as speaker and Jyotindra Jain as the chair. Thank you everyone for coming. Dr. Baodaji Art Museum is a museum about museums. It has survived almost exactly as it was a designer and museum expert, and has successfully pioneered the revival and restoration of several of Mumbai's important cultural sites. In 2010, she was elected Vice Chairman of INTACH, the Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage, and has been the convener of the Mumbai chapter and member of the Governing Council since 1996. Since 2003, she has been the Managing Trustee and Honorary Director of Dr. Baodaji Art Museum, the erstwhile Victoria and Albert Museum, which won the prestigious UNESCO 2005 Asia Pacific Award of Excellence for Cultural Conservation. She has been a non-executive and independent director at WOCHA since September 30, 2014. She has completed political philosophy from Columbia University in New York, English from the University of Delhi, and history from London, and she has also studied fine arts and design at Sir J.J. School of Art in Mumbai. Welcome, Tasneem Mehta. When first established in the middle of the 19th century as the Victoria and Albert Museum, it tells us how museums were first conceived and presented, and about the early objectives and aspirations. The restoration that INTACH completed in partnership with the Jamanlal Bajaj Foundation and the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai has made every effort to retain the original character, while at the same time introducing the latest technology to enhance the quality and performance of the institution. Tasneem Mehta presents the intertwined stories of the Baodaji Art Museum and INTACH, having known both their lives inside out, and she points to the need and methodology to build strong institutions in the culture sector. Tasneem Zakaria Mehta is an art historian, writer, curator. Jyotindra Jain is the former director of National Crafts Museum, the professor and dean at the School of Arts and Aesthetics, Jawaharlal Nehru University, and member secretary of the Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts. He was a visiting professor at the Harvard University and a Rudolf Arnheim visiting professor at Humboldt University in Berlin. Besides being an eminent scholar and curator, Professor Jain, both as a builder of several cultural institutions in India, as well as an insightful critic of cultural policy and institutional histories of the country, has developed alternative perspectives on the subject. Currently, Dr. Jain is a trustee director of Sanskriti Foundation and founder, trustee, and director of CIVIC, the Center for Indian Visual Culture. Welcome, Dr. Jain. I request Rizio Yohanan Raj to contextualize this.
Thank you, Ashwin. I won't take more than 2 minutes. Thank you very much, Tasneem and Jyotindra, for being here. We were really expecting more people today. I don't know what's happening today, but I would just tell you a little bit about, like, for the new people here, how and why this particular lecture at this particular time. As many of you know, this is the 4th lecture in the series this year. The series is on institution as practice, and this is the 4th edition of LILA PRISM, and we've been trying to evolve a certain cultural discourse over the past 3 years. This is the 4th year. So even within this series, like, there are 13 seminal spaces talking about, and the representatives coming and talking about how those spaces are, you know. Because the immediate context of why we conceptualize this series is, as all of us know and are concerned about, many of the establishments, institutions, despite the infrastructure, government support, many of these things which are supposed to build up and nurture institutions, that's all there, but still you find that institutions are failing and they're not really living up to the original vision with which they were formed. So the question was like, what is happening? Because it's also taxpayers' money which is going into making and nurturing, running these institutions. So our question was like, what actually makes an institution? So we arrived at this term, practice, because we thought the transferability and renewability of practice is very important. If an institution has to survive the test of time and make itself relevant through time. That is why we have had 3 lectures, 3 talks, conversations in the city so far, and this is the 4th one. I would like to just tell you this journey through different experiences of creating spaces and movements touches upon various aspects of practice. So in the previous conversations, we had looked at evocation of memory. We started with Kali for Women. So it's an erstwhile organization, it's no longer there. So we were looking at Kali as kind of evocation of memory. And then we had People Tree. So we are looking at creation of a space which has got a certain kind of ethos. You walk into a space and the space influences you, transforms you. How does that happen? Then we looked at the Kochi Mercedes Biennale to look at the spirit of contemporaneity. What does it mean to be in this moment and work? So you can see how this follows. We are talking about the dynamics